Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, the Marvel Studios or Marvel Animation now, the X-Men 97 Disney Plus series. Here in Wave 2, we have Nightcrawler. So before we get into the review, I was able to pick up my set from ToySnowman.com. I was able to get Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Nightcrawler from them. It looks like Nightcrawler is actually sold out, but there are other X-Men 97 figures available at ToySnowman.com. So link in the video description below. It is my referral link. First time buyers setting up a new account, you get a 5% off coupon code in your Frost Rewards, so make sure to check them out. ToySnowman.com. They are based in Canada but ship to the US and other locations, so make sure to check them out. ToySnowman.com. But Nightcrawler, here we go. We got a new Nightcrawler. We had one before that was pretty awesome. Really liked it. I look back on it now and I'm like, damn, that was some sloppy ass paint. And then we had, you know, the little slightly gummy legs and stuff, and there are pins and things like that. And now we have this new Nightcrawler with some new pieces, new arms, new legs. It looks like the body's going to be the same. Tail's probably the same, but we also get some new head sculpts to match the animated series versus a comic book look. Now, I've seen some people comment and ask, why doesn't he come with this sword? Why doesn't he come with this sword? I think the answer is he probably doesn't use the sword in the show. Why would he come with the sword if it's not in the show? This figure is not a comic figure. It's based on the X-Men 97 series that premieres March 20th on Disney+. That's probably the reason why it doesn't come with the sword. That, or maybe a cost thing. I don't know. I assume it's because he probably doesn't use it in the show. So why come with something that he never ends up using? They wouldn't do that. Comic figure, it could make sense. Like, that's what this one was. So that's probably it. Anyway, we get an alternate head, and then we also get some fists for Kurt. There, and looking at the back of the package, you see the wave of the figures. I've looked at the X-cutioner. I looked at Goblin Queen. I've looked at Magneto. Here we're taking a look at Nightcrawler. We'll take a look at Cyclops next, probably, and then we'll finish out with Jean Grey there. So here we go. X-Men 97, Nightcrawler. Let's check it out. Okay, so here is the Nightcrawler figure out of the package, and I like it. It's good. It's like the other one, but better because we get pinless elbows and knees, and then we get these sculpted legs and sculpted forearms and things like that. So it's definitely an improvement. Whether you like the head sculpts or not, I really like the head sculpts on the previous comic version of Nightcrawler. This new one, and the head, he's got big like hair and stuff like that. The shading on his face though is very animated series like. So that's kind of cool. The facial expressions, not a whole lot going on. He's got a little bit of a grin here. He's showing a little bit of teeth there, but I really like this one that we got on the comic version. I will do a better side-by-side so you guys could see. But it looks good. Again, we get fists, as you can see here, and then we get that second head sculpt. The tail is the same on this guy. The body, the torso, is the same. You know, the hands and feet are probably the same. Yeah, I would say the hands... No, they're definitely different. They're very similar, so maybe they made some differences on kind of how the imprint of the bottom looks. But I would say that they're actually different. The hands themselves... Are the hands different? The hands are probably the same. Yeah, I just don't see them going through the hassle of sculpting new... No, the hands are different, actually. So, it's just the torso piece and the tail that's actually going to be the same. So that's pretty cool. So let's get in for a closer look at Nightcrawler. Okay, so taking a close look at Nightcrawler, as you can see, we got the one head sculpt here. This is just slight grin. As you can see there, you get the digital print. You can kind of notice it in a little bit on his lips and kind of right there in his chin. Get the shading in there, and he's got yellow for his eyes. Lots of blue shading in his hair, as you can see throughout there. Looks pretty good. I don't hate the head sculpts, you know, at all. Again, I do really like the old comic versions a little bit more. I'm sure the heads will be compatible, no problem. I will pop it on there a little bit later so we can see it. But yeah, I just think that looks pretty good. So that is the one head sculpt. Let's go ahead and swap out the other one so you can kind of see it. It's a little bit of an angry. You can see he's showing a little bit of... About to break this thing. He's showing a little bit of teeth, but not a whole lot, as you can see there, but he definitely shows a little bit of emotion there, a little bit angry, so that looks good. The hair, I think, is basically the same on both of them, just kind of this crazy bit of hair, but it looks good. Looking at the rest of the figure, looking at the tail, again, it's the same tail that we had gotten before, but as you can see, the blues are slightly different. We get a little bit of a darker blue on the previous Nightcrawler figure. Same goes for, obviously, the skin tones on the face. But the torso, the bodies are the same. They are, in fact, the same, but we get new legs. As you can see, this one's kind of warped over some time. And then we had really sloppy paint. I mean, just really sloppy looking paint before. Just look how bad some of this really was on the Nightcrawler before. Awesome figure at the time for sure, but this one's just a major upgrade. As you can see, the line work is actually sculpted in, and the paint, it looks like it could be slightly off, but it's applied pretty cleanly as compared to that previous comic book version, as you can see there. And then here on the legs, these are also sculpted on the line work there, and that looks pretty good. So we don't get a calf swivel or anything, but we didn't even get that on the previous one. And they almost probably could have done one right there if they wanted to. But that would have been an extra piece, you know, and they weren't going to get around to doing something like that. But it looks really good. So we had the two head sculpts, and then of course you got the fists, if you wanted to swap those out there as well. Again, no sword, but again, he probably doesn't use it in the show. If he does use it in the show and they didn't include it, then you know it's a cost thing, and it sucks that we wouldn't have gotten it, but that's probably it. Looks good. Let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation now. Okay, so Nightcrawler's articulation, he can look all the way up, which is great. He can look all the way down because the head is on the disc hinge and ball. Full rotation in there. Is there some pivot? Not really. You can get the arm to go up and out quite a bit. Actually, full rotation in there. There is a butterfly joint, so you can get the shoulder to go back a little bit, but as you can see, kind of the shoulder pad design on there, you can't really get it to go back too much, and then can't really get it to come forward all that much for any kind of crossbody, so that is a little unfortunate. We got the upper bicep swivel in there, double jointed pinless elbow, as you can see there, that much bend, wrist swivel, and they do have the hinge, standard horizontal hinge on all of the hands. We got an ab crunch on this guy, so he can crunch forward that much. That is actually pretty good. He can crunch back that much, not too shabby there. You got the waist swivel in there, legs go out that far apart. Before I forget, the tail does swivel. It is not a bendy wire or anything like that. It holds its shape and form. Legs go out that far apart. He can't kick forward that far, which is just okay. Leg goes back a little bit, actually. You got an upper thigh cut in there, double jointed pinless knee, that much bend there, no calf swivel of any kind. Foot hinges down all the way. You get some hinge up, which is good. Ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So pretty good articulation in that ab crunch for Nightcrawler. So, you know, not too bad if you want to get him into certain poses. So there we go. Okay, so full on side by side, you can see the two Nightcrawler figures together. Again, they are the same. The new ones, the animated series, X-Men 97, the heads look a little bit bigger, but the pegs, the peg holes should be the same on either one. So if you wanted to pop the head on the other, whoop, you should be able to. Let's see. It does pop on there. It was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be, but it works. And you can see there, and again, because the torsos are basically the exact same, but it does look like this one fits on the neck a little bit higher. This one does go a little bit lower. The skin tones aren't going to match with the tail, but again, essentially the same figure. So if you missed out on the previous Nightcrawler figure, I would say, why not pick this one up? Yes, it's for the X-Men 97 series, but it's going to be a close enough match that it's really going to work. The downfall is you don't get the pirate sword that came with the comic version, but I think this is definitely a Nightcrawler that you're going to want to pick up, whether for the show or not. It's going to work for your comic display. So there is the Nightcrawler. So now let's go ahead and see the other X-Men 97 figures all together, because there's been quite a few now. Okay, so Wave 2 so far, Goblin Queen, the X-cutioner, Magneto, and Nightcrawler. But of course, there is all of Wave 1 to add on top of that. So here's Wave 1 and Wave 2 so far. And the funniest thing is I try to group these to where I could just slot in the figures so then you could see them all. But the X-cutioner figure is so damn small, you really can't see him over Bishop's shoulder. So I probably should have swapped those two around so you would be able to see, yes, Bishop is taller than the other figures, all together to begin with anyway. But that doesn't change the fact that the X-cutioner figure is just so damn little. Like, why is he so small? You got these super-powered mutants, and then you got this guy that's, like, gonna kill them and attack them and go after them, and he's just this little guy. Granted, he's a regular human being, Homo sapien, right? So it's just funny. He's little. Still an interesting looking figure, but Nightcrawler is probably going to end up being my favorite of the wave, just because it's just so good. The upgrade to the pinless, the upgrade to the the sculpted legs and forearms. Just a nice addition. In my opinion, probably going to go down as the best figure in the wave. Cyclops, it would be higher for me if it had better head sculpts. We already got a Cyclops figure on that body in the VHS line from Hasbro Pulse. Yes, it had cell shading, so that did kind of suck. But it's still going to be a good one. So you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this Nightcrawler figure? What do you think of the X-Men 97 figures as a whole? Wave 2, Wave 1, all together. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU collective. And as always, thank you for watching.